If it's Friday night, oh yes, it is Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. I know a lot has happened in a lot of close to home deaths have been going on, but seeing as they're in the world of professional wrestling and not in the world of sports, I figured I will save those for Monday night on Ridiculously Raw. Trust us, we will address and we will pay tribute to WWE Hall of Famer George the Animal Steele, who passed away today at the age of 79. We'll get into that Monday night on Ridiculously Raw because I want to get everybody's thoughts on that. And I say that because, unfortunately, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be joining us tonight. He just informed me just a short time ago that once again he's under the weather. He's not feeling good. He came down with an illness. He says he's running a fever. So on behalf of all of us here, we want to wish him a very speedy recovery. We hope he feels better very soon, and we're hopeful that he'll be back with us on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. And besides, I want to get everybody's thoughts on that anyway. Bullock and I will probably talk about it behind the scenes, but on Monday night, I want to get his thoughts. I want to get MF's thoughts, and Dee Dee Woodson, if she's on, I want to get her thoughts as well. And we'll pay our respects to George the Animal Steele, who passed away today. So very sad time indeed. So we're going to dedicate this show to him tonight, as well as Ridiculously Raw on Monday night. So, Animal, this one's for you. So we hope you enjoy it here. There was one story that
Just
I
as long
wanted.
as you don't chew any turnbuckles.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely. So that's what it was best known for. We'll go down all of its accomplishments and everything else, and so that'll be on Monday nights. So the Yes Movement runs the show tonight. Myself and Michael Bullock here. So we're gonna do our best to hold it down. So let's do this one for MF. I mean, this one's for MF. Considering his considering what's going on with him. And I'll also get his thoughts about UFC 208 as well. We'll drop that out as well. So what we're gonna do? It's gonna be this show's gonna be a little bit on the shorter side this time around, and it's gonna be all about the hoops. Um, I want initially I wanted to get into the big story out of the NHL this week with Claude Julien being named the new head coach of the Montreal Canadiens. Um, Derek had granted me permission to include that on our show this week, but I just but after with MF saying he's out, I wanted to I'm going to push that back for next week's show, seeing that Michael Fletcher had a lot to say about it, and and I wanted to honor his requests. So we'll talk about the Claude Julien story on next week's show. Hopefully, MF will be here for that. So, all right. So it's all about the hoops here. We only really have four things on the docket because UFC 208 was another thing, but seeing that Bullock and I mean, I'm a UFC. I'm not going to say I'm a UFC super fan by any means. Even though I do follow it, I don't follow it as extensively as MF does, and so I'm going to push that back to next week as well, considering that UFC is also MF's bread and butter. So we'll get both of those out of there. We'll save those for next week as well as our NHL power rankings. So we got two college stories and we have two NBA stories. We're gonna talk about Villanova and if they should be the early #1 overall seed by the NCAA selection committee. We'll also pay our respects to the outstanding prospect out of Syracuse who passed away. And in our double main event, both out of the NBA, we're going to preview NBA All-Star Weekend. And then at the end, we'll close it out with our NBA Power Rankings. So, all right. So now that we have now that we've addressed the elephants in the room here, let's start it off with Villanova. Villanova, as you know, they are the defending national champions of college basketball, winning it in that unforgettable championship game last April against North Carolina in Houston, which was an unreal game, to say the very least. We went on the record and said greatest national championship game of all time. And so here you go. They did last Saturday afternoon on CBS, prior to their Kentucky-Alabama telecast. They did a very special edition where they gave an early look at the bracket at that point. And Villanova was named the overall #1 seed in midseason bracketing of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. The reveal of an early bracket was made on CBS. The committee placed the Wildcats, currently ranked #2 in the nation, in the East region, in which the semifinals and finals will be played at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The next 3 seeds in order were Louisville, Kentucky, and UCLA if the tournament were to be played Saturday. Mark Hollis, who is the chairman of the committee, he is the athletic director from Michigan State. He said that Villanova played a challenging non-conference schedule and has achieved considerable success against several quality opponents on the road and on neutral courts. And their consistency throughout the season gave them slight separation from other candidates for the overall top seed. Hollis said the exposure of an early bracket a little more than 4 weeks before Selection Sunday was something for the public to get excited about. The other 4 #1 seeds were Kansas in the Midwest, Baylor in the South, and Gonzaga in the West. They were the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th overall seeds, respectively. Hollis went through the selections of the first 4 seeds in each region, showing how no team from the same conference could be in the same region. The top 4 seeds with their overall are as follows. In the East, Villanova was the 1 seed and #1 overall. Louisville was the 2 seed in the East, 7th overall. Kentucky, #3 seed and 12th overall. And rounding out the top 4 in the East, UCLA as the #15 overall seed. In the Midwest, Kansas #1, 2nd overall. Florida State #2 and the 6th overall. #3, Arizona, 9th overall. And #4, Duke, 16th overall. Miller, number 1 and 3 overall. North Carolina, the 2 and 5 overall. Florida, 3, 11th overall. And #4, Butler, 13th overall. And in the West, #1 seed Gonzaga, 4th overall. #2, Oregon, 8th overall. Virginia, #3, 10th overall. And #4, West Virginia, 14th overall. Hollis reminded viewers that with more than 1,300 games remaining before the final selections are made, the bracket could be significantly different on March 12th. No teams from the Big Ten were included in the top 16. Hollis said Wisconsin and Purdue were among the teams that were just outside the group. So there you have it. Well, if I'm going to be real honest with you, as much as I love Villanova, and I love Villanova, I'm a Big East guy in the whole 9 yards. I mean, I can understand about the challenging a challenging non-conference schedule, and they've achieved considerable success against several quality opponents on the road and on neutral courts. It's an agree to disagree for me. I mean, there's one part of me that agrees with it, but there's another part of me that disagrees with it, seeing as who I think should be the overall number one right now. If I'm going on overall body of work and records and whatnot, I would have Gonzaga as my overall number one because, hello, they're undefeated as of right now. I mean, I think Gonzaga got a bit of a raw deal when it comes to the overall seeding, but we also have to take into account that, you know, strength of schedule plays a big time factor into it and everything else. And my gut says yes, that Villanova should be the overall number one seed as of now. But at the same time, my heart is telling me Gonzaga should be the overall number one seed, seeing that they're undefeated. That's just how I personally feel about it, because I'm a records guy. That's how I roll. But I saw the special last Saturday on CBS, and it was very enjoyable. And I hope that this will be the start. And I hope that next year and every year going forward, the month before Selection Sunday, they will do what they did on Saturday, and they'll do a mid-season look at the bracket. I thought it was very, very good. And well, some of the matchups that they have as of now may be left to be desired. You know, they may be left to be desired, but I'll tell you, I mean, to give us the excitement of Selection Sunday a month out is something really great, and I commend CBS and the NCAA for coming together and giving us that special look that we never had before. We never had this kind of access before, and for us to get that, I gotta tip my cap to the NCAA and to CBS for agreeing to broadcast such an innovative show. So that's all I can say on that. So really well done, and I hope that this is the first of it. And I'm hopeful that next year and every year going forward, we'll do it again. With it when we get to the month before Selection Sunday. So well done, gentlemen. Well done, everybody out there. Commend you for the decision. And like I said, it's an agree to disagree as far as Villanova goes. So with all that being said, Michael Bullock, come on in. I want to get your thoughts on this. That innovative special that they showed on CBS, where we got to look at the bracket a month before it comes out. So they said Villanova was the overall number one. Do you agree or do you disagree with that assessment?
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I mean, I think not Villanova, Gonzaga should be the number one overall seed when it comes to the tournament. I mean, hello, they are undefeated, but I mean, I can understand why, but like I said, because they're undefeated, I mean, yeah, they're scheduled for their conferences, and I mean, playing teams against in their conference is pretty much so-so, but yeah, I mean, Villanova is, I mean, they're number one seed for one of the for wherever they would be going come tournament time, and I did see that special, and I liked how they got us into how they determined who the number one seeds would be from each side. So it's a very innovative way, and it could definitely really help as we get closer and closer to Selection Sunday. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, Gonzaga to me should be the number one overall seed in the tournament. I mean, if they had lost, then perhaps I definitely would have put Villanova in there. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I mean, you pretty much touched on everything. So let's just move on to our next topic.
And unfortunately, we go from exciting news to sad news. Fab Melo. You remember Fab Melo? Standout out of Syracuse, passed away. Last Saturday. He died in his sleep at the age of 26. He was found dead at his home in Juiz, I don't know how to say this. Juiz de Fora, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Sources state that he went to bed and was discovered dead the following morning by his mother. The cause of death is unknown, but a few media reports say that Melo had likely suffered a heart attack during his sleep. So, we remember he came out of Syracuse. He was the 22nd overall selection by Michael Bullock's Boston Celtics in 2012. He played for the Celtics during the 2012-2013 season. And then he pretty much was with the D League. 2012-2013 was with the Maine Red Claws of the NBA Developmental League. 2014 with the Texas Legends. And then in the summer of 2014, he signed with Brazilian team Club Atlético Palestino of the MBB. However, he never appeared in a game for them. April 7th of 2015, he signed with Caciquas de Humacao in Puerto Rico, but soon left before appearing in a game for the team. And then in November of 2015, he signed with Liga Sorocabana for the remainder of the 2015-16 season. Of 2016, he signed with Brasilia. NBA D-League All-Rookie and All-Defensive first teams in 2013. 2012 was the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. 2010 was a third-team Parade All-American. And in 2010, he was a McDonald's All-American. He arrived in the United States in 2008 and enrolled at Sagemont School in Weston, Florida. And after graduating from Sagemont in 2010, he joined Syracuse, the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. He spent 2 seasons playing for their head coach, Jim Boeheim, in Syracuse. Was part of the Orange team that went 34-3 overall and 17-1 in the Big East in 2012. That year, he averaged 7.8 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.9 blocks. Was suspended twice during the season, once for 3 games during the regular season, and again for the NCAA tournament due to academics. Melo's academic eligibility was also part of an NCAA investigation in which the Syracuse program self-imposed a postseason ban, failing because he didn't understand English. And despite these issues, Melo was named the Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and in April of 2012 declared for the NBA draft, foregoing his final 2 years of college eligibility, where on June 28th on the NBA draft was drafted by Michael Bullock's team, the Boston Celtics, with a 22nd overall pick in that year's draft, and signed his rookie contract with the Celtics on July 3rd of 2012, and played in only 6 games in the NBA for the Celtics during that 2012-13 season, but mostly spent the year in the NBA Developmental League with the Maine Red Claws. And on December 22nd, 2012, in Maine's 85-78 loss to the Erie Bayhawks, Fab Melo recorded a triple-double and set a new NBA Developmental League record for block shots in a game with 14. Also had 15 points and 16 rebounds to register just the 3rd triple-double in team history. And at the end of the year, he was named to the NBA D-League All-Defensive and All-Rookie first teams. and was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies on August 15th, 2013 in exchange for Dante Green. Later waived by the Grizzlies on August 30th. And on September 10th, 2013, Melo signed with the Dallas Mavericks, but was ultimately waived on October 22nd. So here's a young man, 7 feet tall, 256 pounds, who never really got a chance in the NBA. Only played 6 games for the Celtics, and reportedly, a few media reports are saying he died of a heart attack in his sleep and passed away last Saturday at the very young age of only 26. So, Michael Bullock, let's get it started with you here. And I imagine that this has to hit very close to home, considering that he was drafted by your team, the Boston Celtics, in 2012. So your thoughts on, as you pay your respects to the sad and sudden, shocking, tragic passing of Fab Melo, who was a stud at Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a stud at Syracuse. I mean, he was one of the reasons why they were so successful. So yeah, I mean, he, like you said, he played 2 seasons at Syracuse. Of course, in 2012, of course, they went 34-3 and 17-1 in the Big East in 2012. Of course, and of course, during that season, Fab Melo averaged 8 points a game, almost 6 rebounds a game, and almost 3 blocks a game. I mean, and he had some tough times as well. I mean, he was suspended twice during the season, once for 3 games during the regular season, and again for the NCAA tournament due to academics. And his academic eligibility was also part of the investigation by the NCAA, which Syracuse they banned themselves for the postseason for the 2014-15 season. And despite all that, like you said, he was the Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and he was drafted 22nd overall by the Boston Celtics, and basically only played 6 games, but spent most of the year in the developmental league with the Maine Red Claws, and he recorded a triple-double in a game on December 22nd against the Erie Bayhawks. And he also set a new record for the NBA developmental league for block shots in the game with 14. And of course, he also had 15 points and 16 rebounds. And at the end of the year, he was named to the D-League All Defensive First Team and All Rookie First Team, and then was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies on August 15th. And then he was waived by the Grizzlies on August 30th, and then went to the Mavericks on September 10th, but was waived by them as well. And then on January 22nd, 2014, went to the Texas Legends of the Developmental League, and then basically decided to go to Brazil on August 1st, 2014. So, sad day. I mean, there was a lot. I mean, according to some sources, I mean, he was found dead at his home in Brazil, and it states that when he went to bed and was discovered dead the following morning by his mother. The cause of his death is unknown, but a few media reports are saying that Melo had likely suffered a heart attack during his sleep. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do an autopsy to determine what actually went wrong, but it's tough to see somebody pass away at such a young age of 26, way too soon. But yes, it's just sad. So I really got nothing more to say. So our thoughts and prayers, of course, go out to the friends and family of Fab Mello. So Warrior, what's yours?
Yeah, right there with you, man. I mean, Val Mello was so fun to watch at Syracuse during that 2011-12 season where Syracuse had that great year. You know, they went 34-3 overall and 17-1 in the Big East. And I'm almost certain they were a number one seed that year in that year's tournament. And he was the heart and soul of that team. And it's just a shame that, he ended up getting into trouble a few times. But academics, it's understandable because academic ineligibility is one of the most serious issues in college basketball nowadays. And but nonetheless, I mean, here's a young man who it's a shame that he didn't get a chance in the NBA. I mean, only 6 games of the Celtics, and then was relegated to the D League, and then ultimately decided to go overseas to play his ball. And but it is what it is. And like Bullock said, I mean, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Mello family. Um, to the family, friends, teammates, what have you, of Fab Mello. He will be missed, and like I said, yes, so Syracuse was a number one seed that year. Um, they made it all the way to the regional finals, the Elite Eight, before losing to number 2 seed Ohio State, 77-70, March 24th of 2012 at the TD Garden in Boston. Um, so their journey came to an end on that night, but and then of course ultimately Kentucky went on to win the whole thing. So, but anyways, like I said, to the family, friends, and colleagues and teammates of Fab Mello, we our hearts are with you. We send thoughts and prayers and condolences to each and every one of you out there for your very sad loss. It's so sad when such a promising talent passes away at such a young age, and he had so much potential, and unfortunately, we he didn't get that much of a break, and it's a damn shame. So Fab Mello, you will be missed, no doubt about it. So rest in peace and Godspeed, my friend. Godspeed. So, but with all that being said, let's focus now on like the New Day would. Let's focus on the power of positivity here, and we have some exciting things we're going to get into now. We would have gotten into the UFC 208 recap, and unfortunately, MF is not here for that. So we'll save that for next week. Hopefully, he'll be here for that. So let's get into this. The NBA All Star Weekend, which is well underway now. They had the celebrity game, which was at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. How that game was in the Superdome and not the All Star game itself is beyond me, but it is what it is. The Eastern team defeated the Western team 88-59. The East team was coached by Jamel Hill of ESPN, um, defeating the West team, who was coached by her partner in crime, Michael Smith. Um, 88-59 was the final in that. And then they have, and as of right now, they have the Rising Stars Challenge. And Team USA versus the world. Jay Larinaga of the Boston Celtics was the head coach of the USA team, and Mike Brown of the Golden State Warriors, the coach of the world team. And I'm sure Bullock's been keeping an eye on that. I usually don't watch the Celebrity Game or the Rising Stars Challenge, only because I get in. I focus tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, of course, one of the most exciting nights of the sports calendar. NBA All Stars Saturday night from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. We have all the events of the skill of the. We got the three big events of this event of All Star Saturday night, which of course the Skills Challenge, which is 8 talents who run an obstacle course, as you all know, and one of my favorite events of All Star Saturday. It's a competition to test ball handling, passing, and shooting ability. In the current version, 2 participants race against each other on identical courses by first dribbling between 5 obstacles while running down the court. And next, the player must throw a pass into a net that does not touch the ground. Then the players must dribble back the full length of the court for a layup. Shortly after, the players must dribble back down the court and hit a 3-pointer from the top of the basketball key. And the match ends when the first player hits the 3-pointer. Currently, the champion is decided via a single elimination tournament with a guard and a big guaranteed to face off in the final. And we've only had a few winners of this event. This event actually started in the 2003 All-Star game, and it was Jason Kidd of the New Jersey Nets. Baron Davis has also won this event. Steve Nash, Dwayne Wade, back-to-back years in 06 and 07. Darren Williams in 08. Derrick Rose in 09. Steve Nash won a second one in 2010. Stephen Curry in 2011. Tony Parker in 2012. Damian Lillard in 2013. And then in 2014, we had co-winners of the event, Damian Lillard and Trey Burke. 2015, it was Patrick Beverley. And last year, Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves was the winner. So let's take a look at the field for this year's Skills Challenge. I don't know how the bracket's going to go down, but here's the player. Here's the list of players right here. We do have an injury. Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers was scheduled to participate, but he is now out due to a knee injury. And we'll get to his replacement in just a minute because I want to run down the list as I have it in order here. The participants for the Skills Challenge are as follows. Anthony Davis, New Orleans Pelicans. Kristaps Porzingis, New York Knicks. DeMarcus Cousins, Sacramento Kings. Embiid's replacement, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Gordon Hayward of the Utah Jazz. Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. John Wall of the Washington Wizards. And Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. Very strong field. Unfortunately, we don't know how the bracket will play out. We probably won't know that until tomorrow night when the All-Star Saturday Night telecast comes on the air on TNT. But looking at this field, it's a very intriguing field. But if I'm going to be honest with you, if I had to pick a winner, I would have to go with Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. I mean, there's something about this young man that's really caught my eye. And here's the young man who's responsible for the Boston Celtics being as good as they are right now. And I'll tell you right now, they will be in the NBA power rankings in a little bit. But yeah, I really like his body of work. And I mean, no disrespect to all the other talents involved. Any one of them can win it. They're all very good and talented, but I just think Thomas has the best case for it. So tough to call, but I gotta go with Isaiah Thomas to win the Skills Challenge. So Michael Bullock, you heard the participants for the Skills Challenge. your man, Isaiah Thomas of the Celtics, he's in it. Are you going with him or are you going with somebody else from the field to win the skills challenge?
Boy, it's tough to go against Isaiah Thomas with the kind of season he's having so far. So yeah, I got to go with Isaiah Thomas to win the skills competition. So, and I'm not only looking forward to that. I mean, I'm looking forward to some of the other things, but the one main thing I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, it's the slam dunk contest. I mean, definitely a lot of memories of this event, and I'm pretty sure more will be made. So we'll definitely have to wait and see on that. So yeah, so looking forward to. I mean, of course, NBA All Star weekend got started tonight with of course, you had the Rising Stars Challenge, and before that, of course, you had the celebrities being introduced for the event. So yeah, really looking forward to it. So let's just move on, Florio.
We're going to get into the other events, Bullock here. We'll get into the dunk contest last because that's usually the main event of it. Next up, we're going to talk about the 3-point shooting contest. We have 8 players who, try to shoot the most threes, and whoever shoots the most threes in this bracket format will be the winner. And 3-point contest has produced another cornucopia of legends to win this thing. And our old friend Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics won each of the first 3. He won each of the first 3 3-point contests: 86, 87, and 88. Dale Ellis won it in 89, and then we had another 3-year in a row winner, Craig Hodges of the Chicago Bulls. He won it in 90, 91, and 92. And then back-to-back in 93 and 94, we had Mark Price win it. 95, Glenn Rice of the Miami Heat. 96, Tim Legler. 97 was Steve Kerr when he was with the Chicago Bulls. Of course, Steve Kerr, now the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. 1998, Jeff Hornacek was the winner. Canceled in 1999 due to the NBA lockout. 2000, Jeff Hornacek was the winner. 2001, Ray Allen. 2002 and 2003, Peja Stojakovic. 2004, Vashawn Leonard. 2005, Quentin Richardson. 2006, Dirk Nowitzki. 2007 and 2008, Jason Kapono. 2009, Daquan Cook. 2010, Paul Pierce. 2011, James Jones. 2012, Kevin Love. 2013, Kyrie Irving. 2014, Marco Bellinelli. 2015, Stephen Curry. And then last year, Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors was the winner. So here's the field for this year's 3-point shooting contest. Defending champion, Klay Thompson from the Golden State Warriors. He's in it. And here's the rest of the field. CJ McCollum, Portland Trailblazers. Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors. Eric Gordon, Houston Rockets. Kyrie Irving from the reigning and defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. Kemba Walker, Charlotte Hornets. Nick Young, Los Angeles Lakers. And Wesley Matthews of the Dallas Mavericks. Michael Bullock, you heard the field for the 3-point shooting contest. And I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to the NBA All-Star Saturday night, this is the event that I actually look the most forward to. Because there's just something about the 3-point shootout that's always so exciting and, so special. And I'll never forget those moments with Larry Bird winning the first 3 in a row, including that great performance he had in 88 in Chicago. So So, Michael Bullock, upon hearing the list of names for this year's 3-point shootout, Klay Thompson, the defending champion, and obviously the odds-on favorite to win it. So, can he make it back-to-back, or are we going to have a new champion in this year's 3-point shootout? Michael Bullock, who you got?
Boy, it's a pretty good list. I mean, especially when you got, of course, the defending champion, Klay Thompson, and of course, Kyrie Irving. I mean, of course, he's in there, a pretty good 3-point shooter himself. And of course, yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, but the thing is, I can't go against Klay Thompson. I mean, he's the odds-on favorite, and he's a really good 3-point shooter. So I actually got Klay Thompson. I think he's going to make it back-to-back. I mean, he's such a good 3-point shooter. I mean, how do you even stop him? I think Kyrie Irving, I think he could finish second. Maybe he could give him a run for his money. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, of course, with Eric Gordon in there and Wesley Matthews, C.J. McCollum, Kemba Walker, Nick Young. I mean, both are good, but the thing is, I mean, that's who I think is going to end up being in the finals. It's going to be Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson, with Klay Thompson basically adding another trophy to his collection, for, of course, for winning the 3-point contest. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I got to go with Klay Thompson as well. I mean, one half of the Splash Brothers, of course. We all know Stephen Curry is the other. This is a great field. I mean, I really like this field. I mean, anybody can win this, but I mean, because Kyle Lowry from Toronto. I mean, he is their 3-point assassin. I mean, I like his body of work. Kyrie Irving. We all know what Kyrie Irving can do. I mean, here's a young man who knows how to hit a three. Just ask Klay Thompson and the Warriors last year in Game 7, and we'll tell you firsthand when Kyrie Irving hit that game-winning three that essentially won the NBA championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers, as well as LeBron's block on Iguodala. Kemba Walker. Oh, Kemba Walker. We'll never forget what he did for UConn when UConn was winning that national championship in 2011. I mean, he was single-handedly the reason why they won it all that year. And Wesley Matthews, another Syracuse standout. I mean, proven 3-point shooter as well. But if I'm going to be real honest, it's Klay Thompson. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, Klay Thompson, just the most deadliest 3-point shooter I've seen in a long time. And I think he's the one who's ultimately going to win this thing. And like I said, anybody can win on any given day. But right now, Klay Thompson, defending champion, wouldn't surprise me in the least if he wins this again this year. So, and now we move on to the final event of All-Star Saturday night, the Slam Dunk Contest. We're guaranteed to have a new champion because the two-time defending champion Zach LaVine of the Minnesota Timberwolves. You remember, if you weren't with us on our last show a week ago, he's done for the season. He tore his ACL and unfortunately will not be back to go for a three-peat in the slam dunk contest. So before we get to the field for this year, let's of course run down the winners of this. The first slam dunk contest was held in 1984, and it was Larry Nance who won that. And And here are the remaining winners as follows. 1985, Dominique Wilkins. 1986, Spud Webb. 1987 and 88, Michael Jordan. 1989, Kenny Walker. 1990, Dominique Wilkins. 1991, Dee Brown. 1992, Cedric Ceballos. 1993, Harold Miner. 1994, Isaiah Ryder. 1995, Harold Miner for a second time. 1996, Brent Barry. 1997, Kobe Bryant. 1998, they did not have a slam dunk contest. It was replaced for that year by the WNBA NBA two-ball competition in 1998. And of course, there was also no slam dunk contest in 1999 because of the lockout. 2000, Vince Carter. Who'll ever forget what Vince Carter did in 2000? 2001, Desmond Mason. 2002 and 2003, Jason Richardson. 2004, Fred Jones. 2005, Josh Smith. 2006, Nate Robinson. 2007, Gerald Green. 2008, Dwight Howard. 2009 and 2010, Nate Robinson. 2011, Blake Griffin. 2012, Jeremy Evans. 2013, Terrence Ross. 2014, John Wall. And then, of course, each of the previous 2 years, 2015 and 2016, it was Zach LaVine. And I'm sure if he didn't get hurt, he would have been in it again this year. He would have been going for a three-peat. But Nate Robinson, the only player to win the event 3 times. 5 two-time winners, Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, Harold Miner, Jason Richardson, and, of course, Zach LaVine. So here are the participants for this year's Slam Dunk Contest. Glenn Robinson III of the Indiana Pacers. DeAndre Jordan of the Los Angeles Clippers. Aaron Gordon, last year's runner-up from the Orlando Magic. And Derrick Jones Jr. of the Phoenix Suns. Michael Bullock, you just said that this is the event that you look the most forward to, the Slam Dunk Contest. You heard the names. You got last year's runner-up Aaron Gordon in there. No doubt if Zach LaVine was in there, he probably would have been the odds-on favorite. But of those 4 names, who do you like in the Slam Dunk Contest this year?
Yeah, I mean it's a damn shame that that Zach LaVine, I mean, couldn't be in there. I mean, of course, you know the story with his injury, and of course, we all know we're gonna wish him a speedy recovery and hopefully gets back out there soon. But man, I mean, you take a look at some of the other names. I mean, the door's basically open now that of course Zach LaVine's out. I mean, Aaron Gordon, I like some of the dunks that he's done, but same thing with Glenn Robinson III and Derrick Jones Jr. But man, it's basically anybody's game. And I'm just gonna take a guess here. I'm gonna go with DeAndre Jordan to win this one. I mean, would it surprise me to see if any of the other members, any of the other 3 could win it? No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I just think DeAndre Jordan, I think he's got what it takes to win this. So I'm going with DeAndre Jordan to walk out your 2017 Slam Dunk champion, and he's going to join that elite list of other NBA stars who have won this competition. I mean, the one that really stands out to me the most was the performance by Vince Carter when the All-Star game was out in California. So yeah, I'll certainly never forget that. So that's pretty much all I can say. So Florio, it's yours.
For the first time, I respectfully disagree with you, Bullock. DeAndre Jordan's a good choice, but I got to go with Aaron Gordon. I mean, especially after what he did last year in that unforgettable final round with him and Zach LaVine. I mean, that was one of the great duels of the ages, and it ranks right up there with that legendary final with Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins in 1988. I mean, those were, to me, the two greatest slam dunk finals of all time. And who knows what we'll have in store this year. But I just think Gordon, especially after coming so close last year, I have to go with him to win it this time around. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll probably do a recap of this next week on our show. So there you have that. So I'm going with that. And of course, the heart and soul, the main event of NBA All-Star Weekend, of course, the NBA All-Star Game itself. I mean, this is, of course, going to be an interesting event, and of course, we'll start it. Let's start it off with the Eastern Conference All-Stars. The starting lineup: we have Kyrie Irving from the NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers, along with DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors. They're going to be your guards. At forward, we have LeBron James, of course, from the NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. Jimmy Butler, forward guard of course, from the Chicago Bulls. And rounding out the starting lineup at forward guard, we had Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. Kyrie Irving in his fourth All-Star game, DeMar DeRozan in his third, LeBron James his 13th, Jimmy Butler his third, and Antetokounmpo his first. The reserves: Isaiah Thomas, Boston Celtics, his second. John Wall, Washington Wizards, his fourth. Kevin Love, out with a knee injury from the NBA champion Cavaliers. This would have been his fourth. He's been replaced by Carmelo Anthony of the New York Knicks in his 10th appearance. Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors, in his third. Paul George, Indiana Pacers, his fourth. Kemba Walker, Charlotte Hornets, his first. And rounding out that team is Paul Millsap of the Atlanta Hawks in his fourth selection. And the Eastern Conference All-Stars will be coached by Michael Bullock's man, Brad Stevens of the Boston Celtics. For the Western Conference All-Stars, starting at guard, Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors in his fourth game. James Harden, the other guard from the Houston Rockets, his fifth selection. The forwards, Kevin Durant from the Golden State Warriors, his eighth selection. Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs, his second. And at forward center, we have Anthony Davis from the hometown New Orleans Pelicans in his fourth. For the reserves, Russell Westbrook, Oklahoma City Thunder, his sixth. Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors, his third. Draymond Green, also from the Golden State Warriors, his second. DeMarcus Cousins of the Sacramento Kings in his third. From the Memphis Grizzlies, his third. DeAndre Jordan, Los Angeles Clippers, his first. And Gordon Hayward of the Utah Jazz in his first. And the Western Conference team will be coached by Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors. So, looking at this, evenly matched game, if I'm going to be real honest with you. I mean, it could really go either way. But if I had to take a chance and say who I think was going to win the All-Star game, I got to go with the West. I think the Western team is more stacked. I mean, especially with all those Golden State Warriors on it. I mean, you got damn near the entire starting lineup on the team. Of course, there's one. I mean, all but one is in there. You got Curry in there. You got Durant and Thompson and Green. I mean, of course, we can't discount Russell Westbrook. I mean, his body of work, and all these other great young talents. I mean, you got a hometown boy and Anthony Davis from the hometown Pelicans in there. James Harden, who I think is having an unbelievable year for the Houston Rockets. I mean, they are so fun to watch this year, and they're going to be very high up in the power rankings for sure in a little bit when we get to that. But But yeah, no disrespect to the East. I mean, the East has a great team as well. I mean, especially with LeBron and Kyrie Irving and Carmelo. But honestly, I just think the Western team is the better team, and I think the Western Conference All Stars will essentially win the All Star game. Um, I look more for honestly, I look more forward the to the All Star Saturday night than the All Star game itself, because we all know the All Star game is a very high scoring affair where they have nothing. It's a meaningless exhibition game. It's kind of like the Pro Bowl and the NHL. Well, more like the Pro Bowl, really. I mean, the NHL All Star Game is exciting now. I think it's the most exciting All Star Game there is. I mean, along with the Major League Baseball one, of course. Especially with that new format of the NHL All Star Game, which has been a rousing success each of the last 2 years. So, but right now, give me the Western Conference All Stars to win the 2017 NBA All Star Games. So, Michael Bullock, while I get ready for the NBA Power Rankings, who do you like in the All Star Game? I think the West has a stacked team, and I think that stacked team is going to lead the West to victory. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go with the Western Conference as well. I mean, it's stacked. It's loaded with a lot of good talent. I mean, don't get me wrong, the East has got it, but the thing is, I mean, you get so many good players, of course, with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Uh, you got Russell Westbrook. I mean, all those names. I mean, it's just too talented, and of course, you always know it's going to be a high-scoring affair because, ironically, I mean, of course, they don't play defense, so in the end, I mean, Western Conference will beat the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to go with Steph Curry, who's going to be the MVP of the All-Star game. I think he'll probably get about double digits in points. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Western Conference will take it. So Florio, without further ado, it's time for another new edition of the NBA Power Rankings.
Absolutely, Michael Bullock, and I will be more than happy to guide you all through the through the power rankings this time around. Looking at the field here, I looked at it. I looked at it very extensively, and I have a very surprising number one. And number one is not who you think it is. That's all I'm going to say on that. It's going to be a very surprising number one. I mean, I know it's all about the records and everything else, but I have to go with who I think is, the best team as of right now. So let's keep in mind it's going to be based on it's not going to be based on overall records. It's going to be based on hot streaks, and it's also going to be based on last 10. Of course, last 10, the most important part of this whole thing. So and that's why we have a very surprising number one, because there's a team that's last 10. When I saw this team's last 10, I couldn't believe it, and I'm like, wow, they're playing some damn good ball right now, and they should definitely be recognized for that. So, all right. Keep in mind, this is our first power rankings in a month. I mean, January 20th, the January 20th edition of this show was the last time we did an NBA power rankings, because we had all those specials, Royal Rumble, NXT Takeover preview back on January 27th, and then 2 weeks ago we did the Super Bowl, and then last week, of course, we did the NHL. So now we're back to the NBA, and so yeah. As I look at what I have from last time, I think I may have a dud in here somewhere. That dud being the Toronto Raptors. They're 4-6 in the last 10 games. They won their last game. I mean, I know the record is there, but I really haven't seen much out of them. I need to see a little bit more from them. So I'm sorry, I got to put them on my dud list. Here's another dud: the Indiana Pacers. I mean, I had them in the last rankings, but they have taken a major tumble. They've lost 6 in a row. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games, and they're gone. So I'm sorry, Indiana Pacers. See ya. That's it. You're out of here. So, okay. I think I pretty much covered all the bases here. So, all right. Without any further ado, let's dive right into these power rankings. I'll guide you through all of them. So, and I'm more than happy to do that. So let's take a look at who we have in the power rankings this time around, starting with our number 10. And my number 10, we're going to start it off with a team who's 5-5 in their last 10 games. They lost their last game, but their overall body of work is good enough to be in here. So I'm going to start it off at number 10 with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are my number 10 in this installment of the NBA Power Rankings. 32-24 overall. They are 2.5 games behind the Wizards in the Southeast Division. Like I said, they're 5-5 in the last 10 games. And let's dive on in. Here's what they've done so far. We're not going to run down, the whole thing. We'll just run down what they've done so far in this month. They are, I believe, they're 4-4 this month in February. They lost at Miami. They won at Houston. They won at home against Orlando. Lost at home to Utah. Won at home against Denver. Lost a close one at Sacramento. They won at Portland, but then they lost their last game at the Clippers. Their next game will be next Friday night when they host Miami. Then they go to Orlando. And then they're at the Celtics on February 27th. And then on March 1st, they go to Dallas, or they host Dallas, rather. And then on March 3rd, which will be our next Power Rankings in 2 weeks, they will host the defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's pretty much it. Of course, they have one representative in the All-Star game this year. That's Paul Millsap. He's one of the reserves on the Eastern Conference team. So that pretty much takes care of that. So my number 10, it is the Atlanta Hawks. Michael Bullock, do we agree or disagree with that?
Oh, I agree with that. The Atlanta Hawks, they're my number 10 as well. So let's just roll right along with number 9.
Number 9. Here's another team. Here's another team that's 5-5 in their last 10 games. However, this team has actually won 4 games in a row. My number 9 is the Los Angeles Clippers. The Los Angeles Clippers are my number 9 in the NBA Power Rankings this week. Record, they have an overall record of 35-21. They're 12 games behind the Golden State Warriors in the Pacific Division. Despite being 5-5 in their last 10, they've won 4 games in a row. Good way to close out the break. Nice to have that kind of momentum going into the All-Star break. They're fun to watch. I mean, they're 5th in points scored, they're 4th in 3-point shooting, and they're 5th in field goal percentage. That's very good. The only Achilles heel is that they're 17th in total rebounds. That's not impressive to me. They won at Phoenix, lost at home to Golden State, lost at the Celtics on Super Bowl Sunday. They lost at Toronto the following night, but they have won 4 in a row. They won at the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. They won at Charlotte. They won at Utah. And then they won their last game before the break on Wednesday at home against Atlanta. Their next game will be Thursday when they go up against the Golden State Warriors on TNT as part of the NBA on TNT Thursday night doubleheader. You know how fun those games are. especially what we saw last night with Boston and Chicago. What a game that was. And then Friday the 20th, and then the next night, the 24th, they got to host San Antonio on ESPN. The 26th, they host Charlotte, and then February 1st, they're home to Houston, and then on Friday, March 3rd, our next rankings, they are at the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's it for that. Number 9, it is the Los Angeles Clippers. They have one representative, and that one representative, of course, DeAndre Jordan, who will be in the dunk contest tomorrow night and is one of the Western Conference reserves. So that's it for that. LA Clippers, number 9. Michael Bullock, is that good with you, or do you have somebody else?
I 100% agree with you. The LA Clippers are my number 9 as well. So let's continue onward with our number 7.
Number 7. All right. I do need to mention some honorable mentions. One honorable mention would be the Miami Heat, even though their record is not the greatest, 25-32. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they have a 1-game winning streak. Of course, the first and foremost rule of our NBA power rankings is your record has to be at least 500 or better, and they're not there. And just missing out on our power rankings, the Chicago Bulls, 5-5 in their last 10, winners of 2 in a row, including an exciting win over Bullock Celtics last night. Sorry, Bullock, but it is what it is. So those are my honorable mentions. So let's move on. Next up, we have a couple of teams who are 6-4 in their last 10 games. And even though one is currently, there's a 1-game winning streak and a 1-game losing streak, but I got to go with the team that has the better record here. I got to go by records here. So number 8 in this installment of the NBA Power Rankings, and I know our friend Al Bradison will be very happy about this. It's his team, number 8, the Utah Jazz. Number 8, the leaders of the Northwest Division. They have a 3-game lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Overall record 35-22, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They won their last game. Notable numbers: they're 9th in field goal percentage, 11th in 3-point shooting. Both of those are great, but 21st in total rebounds, that's not so good, and 28th in overall points scored. That's not good either. But the field goal and 3-point percentages, those are encouraging. Okay. So far in the month of February, it started off on a really good note. They won the first 4 games. Home wins against Milwaukee and Charlotte. Road wins at Atlanta and New Orleans. But then they tumbled. They had lost 3 in a row after that. They lost at Dallas. Lost at home to Bullock Celtics last Saturday. And then Monday, they lost at home to the Clippers. And then they won their last game before the break on Wednesday. They stopped the bleeding with a 111-88 win over Portland. Upcoming schedule for the Jazz. Next Friday, the 24th, they go to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Sunday, the 26th, they're at Washington. Tuesday, the 28th, they're at Oklahoma City. And then on Wednesday, March 1st, they host Minnesota. And then Friday, March 3rd, they're at home against the Brooklyn Nets. So the Utah Jazz, again, theme so far, one All-Star representative, and that, of course, Gordon Hayward, who is a reserve for the Western Conference All-Stars. You remember Gordon Hayward, the young dynamo out of Butler, who nearly made the greatest shot in NCAA tournament history in 2010 in that final against Duke. I mean, that's a Gordon Hayward memory I'll treasure. That shot goes in. That's probably the greatest title game of all time, but he just missed it. And I'll never forget Jim Nantz on commentary with he just missed. Unreal. So that's all I can say on that. So number 8 it is the Utah Jazz, Albrechtsen's team, our friend Albrechtsen's team. So, Michael Bullock, what says you?
Don't you mean number 7?
Did I say number 7? No, it's number 8, Bullock.
Oh,
It is
all
number
right,
8.
all right. I thought we already did number 8.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I agree with you on who you have here at number 8. So so there's really nothing more to say. So now let's move on to number 7.
Yes, number 7. It's the other team who's 6-4 in their last 10 games, despite losing their last game. I got to go by the overall record here. My number 7 is the Houston Rockets, 40-18, 4 games behind the San Antonio Spurs in the Southwest Division. They're 2nd overall in points scored. They're 7th in field goal percentage, 9th in total rebounds, and 11th in three-point shooting. Very good numbers all around. And we take a look at what they've done in the month of February so far. Lost at home to Atlanta. And then they had won. They were previously on a 4-game winning streak. And, wins at home again. They beat the Chicago Bulls at home last week, and then 2 weeks ago, rather. And then another home win against Orlando. And then a road win at Charlotte. A home win against Phoenix. But then in their last game, and the reason why I have them at number 7, a very bad 117-109 loss to the Miami Heat at home. If they had won that game, they would have won 5 in a row, and they definitely would have been higher up, no question about it. But that was a bad loss for them. So let's go down their schedule. Of course, Thursday the 23rd, they're at New Orleans. Next Saturday, they host Minnesota. Monday, the 27th, they host the Indiana Pacers, part of a Monday night on TNT doubleheader. And then their final game before our next rankings will be on Wednesday, March 1st, when they go up against the Los Angeles Clippers in Los Angeles on ESPN as part of their Wednesday night doubleheader on ESPN. Houston Rockets represented, of course, by James Harden, the lone representative, but he's a starter. He is in that starting lineup for the Western Conference All-Stars. And he's my dark horse for MVP. Although Bullock gave his bold prediction as to who he thought was going to be the MVP, he went with Stephen Curry. I can understand that, but strong player, Bullock. I got to go. I think it's going to be Kevin Durant ultimately. I think Durant's going to ultimately win that, but we'll see. I mean, Curry's a great choice too, but for right now, we'll get into that another day. But for right now, number 7, it is the Houston Rockets. So, Michael Bullock, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Who was it that you had?
Houston
Oh
Rockets.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, the Houston Rockets. They're my number 7 as well. So there's really nothing more to say. So it's on to number 6.
Yes, and number 6, I'll tell you, we have another pair of teams. This time they're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and but this is another easy one here. Not just because of overall record, but also because of the streaks. This team lost their last game, but the others won 2 in a row. So this was an easy one. So number 6, I have the Memphis Grizzlies as my number 6. 7-3 in the last 10 games, lost their last game. They're 34-24, 10 games behind the San Antonio Spurs in the Southwest Division. Yeah, the numbers are not good. 18th in total rebounds, 20th in three-point shooting, 24th in points scored, but they are dead last in field goal percentage. That's not so good, Al. That's not so good. All right. Let's look at their body of work, though. But the body of work has been there, though, in this month of February. They won at Denver, lost at Oklahoma City. They were on a 3-game winning streak with wins at Minnesota, at home against San Antonio, and at home against Phoenix before a loss to the Warriors at home. They went into Brooklyn and defeated the Nets on Monday, and then Wednesday night they had a tough luck 95-91 loss to New Orleans. Upcoming schedule for Memphis at Indiana, next Friday. Sunday the 26th, they're at Denver. The 28th, they're home to Phoenix. And then Friday, March 3rd, they're at the Dallas Mavericks. So with that being said, number 6, it is the Memphis Grizzlies. Michael Bullock, agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you with what you had at number 6. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So, time to go on to the top 5.
Yes, indeed. And starting off the top 5, my number 5, it's the San Antonio Spurs. They've won 2 in a row, 7-3 in the last 10 games, 43-13 overall, second best record in the Western Conference, behind the Golden State Warriors. First in 3-point shooting, 4th in field goal percentage, 9th in points scored, 14th in total rebounds. Good numbers all around, especially the 3-point shooting. That's very good. Looking at their body of work, it's been very good as of late. Home wins against Philadelphia and Denver. That tough loss, that bad loss, I should say, at Memphis. And then road wins at Philadelphia and Detroit. They lost to the Knicks in Madison Square Garden this past Sunday. But they have won 2 in a row. Road wins. A hard-fought win at Indiana on Monday, and then an easy 107-79 win in Orlando on Wednesday. Next Friday, the 24th, they're back from the break. They go to Los Angeles against the Clippers. Power ranking implications in that one, no doubt about it. And then they stay in Los Angeles to go up against the Lakers on Sunday, the 26th. That's an afternoon game on NBA TV. And then from there, they host the Indiana Pacers on March 1st. And then in 2 weeks, on March 3rd, they go to New Orleans against the Pelicans. Second half of a Friday night ESPN doubleheader. A lot was made about this team and how they were going to function without Tim Duncan. But they're just fine. I mean, 43-13 overall. I mean, what a job that Greg Popovich is doing. And, of course, I forgot to mention Marc Gasol is the lone representative of the Memphis Grizzlies. And the San Antonio Spurs also have one representative, and that is Kawhi Leonard. But Kawhi Leonard is in the starting lineup, and Marc Gasol is on the reserves. So what a job by Greg Popovich and company. Very impressive. So with that being said, number 5, it is the San Antonio Spurs. So, Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yes, San Antonio Spurs. I mean, they're my number 5 as well. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on to number 4.
Number 4. Okay, now this plays out easily. We got 3 teams who are currently 8-2 in their last 10 games, but overall records and body of work ultimately the deciding factors. So we started off at number 4, and Michael Bullock, I know you're going to be very happy about this. Number 4, it's your team, man. It's your Boston Celtics at number 4. 8-2 in their last 10 games. They lost their last game of that tough luck loss to the Chicago Bulls last night in Chicago. 37-20 overall record. They lead the Atlantic Division by 4 games over the Toronto Raptors. They're 5th in points scored, 9th in three-point shooting percentage, 13th in field goal percentage. There is one Achilles heel, though. They're 27th in total rebounds. They got to work on the rebounding. But other than that, I can't complain about what the Celtics are doing this year. They started the month of February with 3 wins in a row, all at home. Home wins against Toronto, the Lakers, and the Clippers. And then a bad loss at Sacramento on February the 8th. And then a great come-from-behind effort against the Portland Trail Blazers on the 9th. And then last Saturday, they went into Utah and beat the Jazz. Easy win at Dallas on Monday. And then on Wednesday, a hard-fought 116-108 win over Philadelphia. And then that very tough 104-103 loss to Chicago in Chicago. If they had won that game, the Celtics honestly would have been in the top 3. They would have been in the top 3, no question about it. But that loss to the Bulls just kept them out of the top 3. First game from the break will be next Friday when they go to Toronto with a big game against the Raptors. Sunday the 26th, they're at Detroit. Monday the 27th, they're at home against Atlanta. And then March 1st, they're at home against the NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers on ESPN as part of a Wednesday night doubleheader. And then Friday, March 3rd, they go to Staples Center to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, the Celtics represented by Isaiah Thomas, who is Eastern Conference All-Star Reserve. Of course, we'll also see him tomorrow night in the skills competition. So that's all we can say on that. So just missing out on the top 3 by a smidge. It is the Boston Celtics. So they're number 4. Michael Bullock, do you agree with where I have you guys or what?
Oh, I agree with you. The Celtics, they're at number 4, and yeah, I totally agree. They need to definitely work on their rebounding. I mean, everything else is good at where they are. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on to the top 3.
Top 3. No question about this. Okay. So now we go to the top 3, and like I said before, we have 2 more teams who are 8-2 in the last 10 games, but I have to give this the overall because of the overall records. My number 3, your reigning and defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. 39-16 overall. They lead the Central Division by 11 games over the Indiana Pacers. They're 8-2 and they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 3 in a row. And here's where they stand. 2nd in three-point shooting, 3rd in overall points scored, 7th in field goal percentage, and 9th in total rebounds. All great numbers across the board. And as we look at their body of work as of late, so far in the month of February, they've done very well. They've only lost 1 game in the month of February. They had an easy win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hard-fought win against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden on the 4th. A wild shootout with the Washington Wizards on February 6th. I believe, Bullock, you told me about this. That 140-135 shootout in Washington. February 8th, easy win over the Indiana Pacers. And their only loss of the month on February 9th, a 118-109 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City. They've since won 3 in a row. Easy win against the Denver Nuggets. A hard-fought win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And another hard-fought win over the Indiana Pacers. So there's that. They return to action on Thursday when they host the New York Knicks as part of an NBA on TNT doubleheader. They play the NBA Saturday night game of the week on ABC next Saturday night when they host the Chicago Bulls on ABC. Monday the 27th, they're at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. And then, I went a little too far. Okay. And then on Wednesday, March 1st, they go to Boston to take on Bullock Celtics in the Garden. NBA on ESPN Wednesday night doubleheader. Major implications in that one, believe that. And then on Friday, March 3rd, they go to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. So another great year for LeBron and company. Cleveland Cavaliers well represented in the All-Star game. They had two starters. Of course, we know LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving, both starters for the Eastern Conference. They would have had a third if Kevin Love did not get injured. He suffered a knee injury, so Kevin Love out of the All-Star game. He was replaced by Carmelo Anthony of the New York Knicks. So there's all that. So I think I pretty much ran down everything else. So my number 3, it is the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're reigning and defending NBA champions. So Michael Bullock, how do you feel about that?
I agree with you again. The reigning defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers are my number 3 as well. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. Let's move into our number 2.
I know this number 2 is going to surprise everybody. I mean, I know this team should be number 1 because of the overall record, and I get that, but there's one team that's actually playing better ball than this team is right now, despite the record difference. I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment like Michael Fletcher has said on numerous occasions, but it's my opinion. I don't care. Like I said, I know this team should be number 1, but they're just short. My number 2 is the Golden State Warriors. I know they have the best record in the league at 47-9. I know they lead the Pacific Division by 12 games over the Clippers. But here's the big difference. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they won their last game. There's one team that has a better last 10 and is on a longer winning streak. And I felt that team should be rewarded for that. Golden State Warriors, field goal percentage. They also number 1 in overall points scored. They're 3rd in three-point shooting and 7th in total rebounds. Total package across the board right there. They've had a very good month of February. They've only lost 2 games. I believe they are 6-2 in the month of February. They started off with easy wins over the Charlotte Hornets and Los Angeles Clippers. A bad loss to the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento on the 4th. Easy win over the Chicago Bulls. They obliterated them 123-92 on February 8th. That was part of a 3-game winning streak. They followed that up with road wins over Memphis and Oklahoma City, including Kevin Durant's return to Oklahoma City last Saturday, 130-114. A bad loss to the Denver Nuggets. They got obliterated by the Denver Nuggets. Ugh. No. 132-110. If it wasn't for that, this team, hands down, would have been number 1. No doubt about it. But that horrific loss to the Nuggets, that's what did it for me. And then Wednesday, easy win over the Sacramento Kings, 109-86 at home. They're back in action on Thursday when they host the Los Angeles Clippers, NBA on TNT doubleheader. Saturday the 25th, they host the Brooklyn Nets. Monday the 27th, they're at Philadelphia against the Sixers. They're at Washington, the Wizards. Major implications in the power rankings on Tuesday the 28th. That's a game on NBA TV. And then their final game before our next rankings will be on Thursday, March 2nd, when they go to Chicago against the Bulls on TNT as part of an NBA on TNT Thursday doubleheader. So for all intents and purposes, I know this team should be number 1, and rightfully so, but I have to go by the last 10, and I also have to go by the hotness. So if it wasn't for that loss to Denver, hands down, this team probably most likely would have been number 1. But because of that, They're only number 2, I'm sorry to say. So number 2, like it or not, it is the Golden State Warriors. So Michael Bullock, I know you were as conflicted as I was, but do you agree with me on this?
You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. The Golden State Warriors are my number 2 as well. I mean, there is one team that I think has been playing even better than them, and I'm probably going to agree with you on that. So I don't think we should wait any longer. Let's find out who's number 1.
The very surprising number 1 that I told you. This may come I know it's going to come as a shock to everybody, but I have to reward the body of work. Number 1, the Washington Wizards. Yes, the Washington Wizards, number 1 in the NBA power rankings. I know their record's only 34-21, but it leads their division. They lead the Southeast Division by 2.5 games over the Atlanta Hawks. But here's the major difference. 9-1 in their last 10 games. And on top of that, they've currently won 4 in a row. 3rd in field goal percentage, 5th in three-point shooting, 5th in points scored. 1 Achilles heel, though, and they are 20th in total rebounds. They do have to work on the rebounds. Very impressive body of work. I mean, they've only lost 1 game in the month of February so far. They're 6-1 in the month of February. They had home wins over the Los Angeles Lakers and New Orleans Pelicans. The one loss, of course, a wild 140-135 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the 6th of this month. But since then, they've won 4 in a row. A hard-fought win in Brooklyn against the Nets. Hard-fought win at home against Indiana. Monday night, they had an easy win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 120-98. And then a 111-98 win over Indiana in Indiana last night. They're back in action next Friday, the 24th, when they go to Philadelphia against the Sixers. They host Al Bredeson's Utah Jazz on the 26th. Tuesday, the 28th, that big game against the Golden State Warriors, NBA TV. And then March 1st, they go to Toronto. And then March 1st and March 3rd, a home and home with the Toronto Raptors in Toronto on Wednesday the 1st, and then at home at Verizon Center against the Raptors on the 3rd. I did forget to mention, of course, the Golden State Warriors, well represented in the NBA All-Star Game. 4 representatives, 2 starters. Those 2 starters, of course, Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, and their 2 reserves, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Wizards, 1 representative. That's John Wall. He's a reserve for the Eastern Conference team. So, and I know this team really shouldn't be number 1, but hey, when you're 9-1 in your last 10 games and you've won 4 in a row, I think you deserve to be. So that last 10 was the crucial difference. So with that being said, number 1 in this installment of the NBA Power Rankings, at least for this go around, I don't believe they will be next time, but you never know. Number 1, very surprising, the Washington Wizards. Bullet, close it out.
All right, my number 1, I have to agree. It is the Washington Wizards. I mean, especially with the way they've been playing as of late. So yeah, so nothing more to say. Washington Wizards number 1. So that being said, let's just put a bow on this edition of Strictly Sports on this Friday night.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. That will do it for this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports. We're gonna like I said, we're gonna push the Claude Julien story back to next week to accommodate Michael Fletcher, because I know he wanted to go off on that, and we'll also save the UFC 208 recap for him as well, since Bullock doesn't follow UFC and I'm so when it comes to it. So, all right, so that'll do it for this. So let's get into our shout outs very quick, and Michael Bullock, we'll start it off with you real quick.
Yeah, of course. Shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this Ridiculously Raw or the Cerebral Smack Talk. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. And we thank you all so very much for tuning in for another great edition of Strictly Sports. Of shout outs to all of our, to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. Of course, to our first lady of the wrestling forum, Dee Dee Woodson. And of course, to all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you are. And of course, all of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12. And of course, also from ESPN, um, Fox Sports, NBA TV, NHL Network, NFL Network, MLB Network, uh, and all the other sports channels out there. So, of course, Stata Sorrell and Lindsay McCormick, and of course, our friends from the Road Show, of course, former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and then of course the three current people, of course, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. So definitely, so that's gonna do it for me. So until Monday night for an all new edition of Ridiculously Raw. This is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now and enjoy your weekend, everybody. So, Florio, take us home.
Yes, we'll do, Bullock. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout out to the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Woodson, along with Kevin Woodson and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons. Al Bradison, of course, celebrated a birthday this past week, so we want to send a special birthday shout out to our friend Al Bradison. And last but not least, when it comes to our crew shout outs, of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight because of his illness. We wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he'll be ready to go come Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. And of course, the man who puts it all together, the man with the plan, of course, our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb Derek Ferreira, and of course all of our personalities from Channel 6, 10, and 12. They know who they are, as well as our friends from ESPN, Fox Sports 1, NHL Network, MLB Network, NFL Network, and NBA TV. All of our other personalities out there, Lindsay McCormick, Stata Sorrell, Julie Alexandria, Julianne Pake-Soto from Channel 12. I think I pretty much covered all those bases. Our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, and former co-host Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And of course, last but not least, of course, my wonderful church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning, 10 a.m. service. Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. Other events once in a while that are going on. And then there's usually also a Sunday morning Bible study, but that's being put on hold for a couple of weeks. The Sunday morning Bible study will return on Sunday, March 5th, unless I'm otherwise noted. So there's that, and other events going on within that wonderful group. Love them all to death. I mean, grateful and blessed to know each and every one of them. I mean, I look forward to another wonderful Sunday service as always, and that's it for my shout outs. So all right, so we're off for the weekend, and we'll next be with you on Monday night following Monday Night Raw for another installment of Ridiculously Raw. And on that show, we will have our special tribute to George the Animal Steele. Of course, if you didn't hear the news, George the Animal Steele passed away today at the age of 79. Myself, Bullock, MF, if he's on, hopefully, as well as Didi Woodson. We will pay our respects and share our favorite memories of George the Animal Steele. And then, of course, we'll also review Monday Night Raw as we continue on the road to Fastlane. And I'll also have my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. Unfortunately, it's a double negative. I'm not going to have a positive review about either show. It's going to be a negative review on both ends. It's sad but true. And I'll let you know about all that on Monday night. And then Tuesday night at either 10 or 10:30 over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, we will of course have another installment of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll review SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live, of course, headlined by that big battle royal where the winner will face Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. We also had Nikki Bella against Natalya in the Falls Count Anywhere match. And there you go. So we'll review all that on Tuesday night, as well as Mikey's Mindset on ROH and some other things. And then next Friday night, we have Strictly Sports. Hopefully MF will be here, as we'll get into the Claude Julien story, as well as the UFC 208 recap. I want to get MF's thoughts on that. And considering he is the UFC guru here. And I'm sure we'll probably also have a recap of the NBA All-Star festivities, and we'll have our NHL power rankings next week. So, but Derek will, I'm sure, have the docket out either Sunday or Monday or whenever he has it ready to go. So that's it. So that'll do it for this. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Derek Ferreira, and of course Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy all the NBA All-Star festivities. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And for now, Anthony Florio, so long.